And Central Park has this enormous importance as a place where the city can step back from itself and can remember what it's like to watch a 2-year-old roll on the grass, or sit under a tree and read a book, or watch a duck swim, or a squirrel run up a tree. Things that are ordinary for people who live in most parts of the United States and the world. But if you're going to choose to live in this, most of us think, extraordinary city where the opportunities are so enormous and all the wonderful things are legion. But one thing we don't have is space, and one thing that most of us don't have is grass outside, and we don't have trees, and we don't have our own pet squirrels and stuff like this. So Central Park, more than other parks, has to function in the same way that the backyard does for so many Americans.
I think it's very important to understand that the car has overwhelmed cities all across America. It has become much too dominant a force, and frankly, you cannot have a truly sustainable urban place when the car is dominant. Therefore, the priority in many ways should be the taming of the car in all manner of form. And where better to start than in the most important jewel of the city, often referred to as the lungs of our city, our preeminent landscape landmark. It should be as car-free, at least along the Loop Drive, as is possible.
You know, New York is probably the ultimate sustainable community. We bike more, we walk more, we use transit more than anybody else in any other city in the country. It just seems that a city like this, that has so many people living and working together, should have one place where we play together. And we have that at Central Park. But it doesn't make any sense to mix cars with kids like Elias here, and people who are running as hard as they can and yet having to breathe car fumes. Central Park is a place where for a few hours a day, people can come and run as hard as they want, bike as hard as they want, and play as hard as they want without having to worry about car fumes or accidents with cars.
It's kind of a hassle when you have children and you want to use the park. When there are cars, as a parent, you're always tense. And I've been telling my friends and family, wouldn't it be nice that the cars go around on the regular streets? We have so many nice regular streets on east and west side. Why do the cars have to go through the park? I don't see a reason.
We already have to deal with, enough traffic just walking the streets of Manhattan, which is a glorious thing, the hustle bustle. However, this is our escape. This is our oasis, and to have loud cars with their exhaust when you're sucking wind anyway, jogging, bicycling, trying to stay in shape, it's just, it ruins the whole peaceful, natural beauty for me. Like, I try to go to the bridle paths and avoid, but still, you can only avoid it so much.
I think we should get rid of the cars in the park and have bicycles and horses. We need to go back to the original way that this park began and what it was meant for. Peace, quiet, serenity, no air pollution, and a lot of fun.
Clearly, the original design, the greens were designed for Central Park, envisaged its use as a place of contemplation and repose and relaxation and taking your time, so that you were not really even supposed to get on the grass, and you certainly weren't supposed to run and kick a ball or race through it. The idea was that the park itself was in a sense the end or the goal or the means toward a goal. That the park was not an avenue from one place to another, but it's where you were heading, and so the enjoyment consisted of being inside the park.
I think it's outrageous that there's no place that we can have as a place to feel a sanctuary away from cars, where I could ride my bike without having to worry that these huge, massive machines are out to get me. I think that it's outrageous that there's cars in the park.
This is a park, not a throughway. It's absurd, I mean, there's no trees, nothing in New York, and where it is, there are cars. It's disgusting.
It's well established that exhaust fumes and car exhaust, do get into the lungs, and we know in fact that asthma attacks are triggered by exposure to the car exhaust. I think a car-free Central Park would be a tremendous benefit for children and adults with asthma, any respiratory problem, or in the general population. We know that these chemicals damage the lungs.
Well, I can't run on this loop because I have asthma, and anytime I get a whiff of exhaust, I choke up. So I have to, find other paths. This would be ideal, but it's not an option for me. It's a park. It's supposed to be like nice fresh air, and if it's polluting, right? Cars pollute. They should get them out right now. For the sake of children, for the sake of bicycles, and people doing recreation. It's not just recreation after 7 o'clock. It's recreation all day long.
I've been living in New York City for about 30 years now, right on the Upper East Side, and I just can't stand riding my bike here and sucking up these exhaust fumes. It's disgusting.
I absolutely believe in a car-free park because this was designed for carriages a long time ago when the only emissions from a horse could be cleaned up the next day. But these car emissions cannot be cleaned up. They create noise, they create disturbance, they frighten the animals.
Central Park is one of the extraordinary gems of our great city, and there should be one place where New Yorkers can ride their bikes, rollerblade, walk, stroll with their baby carriages without breathing the exhaust and hearing the noise of cars. And if this was going to have a terrible impact on the traffic congestion around Manhattan, that might be a consideration. But truth be told, it will have an effect, but it is minor and it is well worth the benefit. We all the time have to make difficult public policy choices, and this is a case where the choice seems very clear. The benefit outweighs the costs, and Central Park should be car-free.
When I came to Harlem Hospital, which was 1975, I was seeing injuries to children that were worse than anything I had seen during my training as a surgeon. We established a registry, and we discovered that we had double the injury rate in Harlem, in central Harlem here, than national or the city rate. We realized by looking at the community and looking what was available for children that they needed safe playgrounds, safe parks in which to play, because they were playing in the street and getting hit by cars. We also knew that they needed good activities like biking or dance with good mentors in order to stay out of negative activities. So we started the Harlem Hospital Injury Prevention Program, which became the Injury Free Coalition for Kids.
Children need to be comfortable going wherever they want to go. My playground is Central Park. That's ever since I've been riding a bike, Central Park has always been the big destination. When kids get out of school at 3 o'clock, the park opens up for vehicular traffic. So children that get out of school between 3 and 5, there's literally no place for them to go except back to the streets. And part of what we've worked on at the Harlem Hospital Injury Prevention Program is trying to create safe play environments for children.
I think one of the possibilities that we kind of think about as we have a car-free Central Park is that children probably would have a lot more access to riding in the park, certainly during the week. Probably less supervised. I think it would probably eliminate some of the fear that parents may have.
I think cars in the park is a bad idea. Our young children, or the kids from 10 to, say, adults, have nowhere to play. They have nowhere to bike because they're not allowed in the playgrounds, they're not allowed on the road. It's unsafe for them to be really anywhere where they could ride their bikes. So if the cars came out of Central Park, our kids could have a safe place to be.
If you want to make the park a safe place for the kids, there should be no cars. It's frightening sometimes. I have to stop here and wait for quite a while before I can actually cross and feel safe.